British Telecom was one of the first companies through the programme and received a refund of over £1 billion. BT's chief executive, Ben Verweyen, wrote, "Earnings per share up 14%, and nice to know that we have a £1 billion credit from the taxman." Dave Hartnett claimed this approach was more efficient.
Litigation in the courts is really phenomenally expensive in this day and age all over the world, and I think is to be avoided where possible. And the art is to persuade people to pay by strength of argument and the like.
After protests erupted in 2011, the Treasury Select Committee questioned Dave Hartnett. Dave Hartnett claimed he could not give any information due to taxpayer confidentiality.
What in statute prevents you from disclosing information to Parliament?
All my advice, Mr. Barclay, so far has been that I am prevented, and my colleagues are prevented, by the Act and by the decision of the Commissioners.
Dave Hartnett failed to mention that the legal advice he had received stated that the disclosure of information was at the discretion of the head of HMRC. The head of HMRC was Dave Hartnett himself.
Just like the mafia has penetrated the state, accountancy firms have also penetrated the state. The head of anti-avoidance in the UK tax authority is from one of these firms. The newly appointed chairman of Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, which is a tax authority, is a partner from KPMG. Their partners have penetrated the state. They are running the Treasury.
Britain's financial services industry had penetrated the state and began to shape its laws for its own benefit.
The degree of political capture by the City of London, by the big banks and the big law firms, is so enormous that the politicians have effectively become their spokespersons.
With the government unwilling to act in the interest of the public, a group of protesters confronted Dave Hartnett at a private event in Oxford.
Hi everybody, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm just going to take a few moments of your time. Here tonight to present Dave with an award. It is the Lifetime Achievement Award for services to corporate tax planning.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Dave's been a great friend to the industry, a great friend to many of us over the years, and really we just can't thank him enough for what he's done.
Obviously us at Vodafone, it saved us billions off our tax bill, and our friends at Goldman Sachs as well. We've also saved us millions as well.
25 million or so.
These people are trespassers and intruders.
And I know you've had problems with pesky
This is an unlawful conspiracy to trespass, and you will go, sir. You will depart immediately before we set the dogs on you.
Celebrating the criminal.
Go. You're trespassing. Okay. You're trespassing, scum. Go.
After his retirement, Dave Hartnett moved to the private sector. One of his positions was at accountancy firm Deloitte, where he advises foreign governments on corporate taxation. Dave Hartnett is a companion of the Order of the Bath, an honour bestowed on him by the British monarch.
We have former ministers acting as advisors to accountancy firms. Accountancy firms provide jobs and consultancies for potential ministers. To my mind, really, it's an indication of corrupt structures. People are buying and selling influences. When a former minister works for an accountancy firm, he's not providing any accounting knowledge, he's opening political opportunities, home and abroad. That is what they are doing.
I hope by now you'll share my view that I don't trust most bankers, I don't trust most lawyers, I don't trust most accounting firms. I actually think they're engaged in a conspiracy against public interest.
In Britain, secrecy and complexity.
Your child needs these 3 factors to get into an Ivy League or...
No, it doesn't need. We are trying to keep our children away from their Ivy League.
We have broken your charms, okay? That's your ad. That's your fake ad. Who will go to and destroy the whole planet? It's over. We are not trying to go there.
No.
When you begin to identify female from male, hey, let us know.
Exactly.
When you begin to identify genocide from free speech.
Yes.
Send us an email.
Let us know.
Not serious.
Yes. You people cannot deceive the world anymore with your lies and deception and everything that cock and bull story cook up for the longest time. Can you imagine? We thought that people were going to be educated. We didn't know people were going to be brainwashed. Corrupted. When they come out, if you're saying A, they will say B. Look at Okonjo-Iweala.
Hey, well, don't say.
When you're talking A, they'll be talking B. Simple things do not make sense to them. But they will speak big English, come out with high economic policies that makes no sense. Meanwhile, IMF, World Bank that you are working for, they are duping our people and making our people poor.
Duping everybody.
Everybody.
Under your watch.
Under your watch. Mm-hmm. And you're celebrating positions. Ivy League indeed. Not sending your children there because the children come out. They stop.
Our brother said it's a magic spell. A magic spell works. That's their voodoo, man. The Dibia, they forgot to pay the Dibia. It's over. he stopped cooking medicine for them.
I'm telling you.
We have seen you guys. Ivy League graduates. The other one, what is the other one in Kaduna terrorizing them? They're calling himself governor. That's one of them.
What's his name?
Yes, the one that came back here to do masters or whatever.
Yes.
Governor.
El-Rufai, body bag manager.
Yes.
The one that told them that if they come, he will body man because he knows them that together in the same group, they know themselves. They're not sponsoring them. They sponsor terrorism so that they can steal resources.
And he learned from the best.
He learns from the That's why we're unable to deal with terrorism. In Nigeria, I say Boko Haram for years, they can't deal with it because the people sponsoring it are the ones trying to deal with it. Who are you deceiving? Enough of this deception. Ozgozien. Stop deceiving our people. Stop deceiving humanity. Because everyone is dying, especially us women. We are the ones that go to labor room to bring out these children that you're destroying every day. It needs to stop. Please go ahead.
It's insane, my dear. I am about to go half on the likes of Soludo and Okenja. She can't even tie her scarf.
No.
Oh no, I forgot because she went to Harvard. She can't tie it. They don't have time to tie scarf.
No, not time to tie scarf.
Cockroach and
yes,
throw it on their head.
I agree. Tie it like that because it's too intelligent.
And you can't say anything. No, don't say. You cannot comment. No, you can't comment.
No, don't comment. So
graduate from Harvard.
Professor. World class professor. Don't say anything. No, anyone she ties is the good one. Yes, we excuse her. She's too intelligent
to tie a scarf. Very intelligent, okay? Yes. Because my dear, it's very difficult nowadays to identify a male from a female. So don't even try it on me, okay?
They are deceiving themselves, not us. Telling cock and bull stories. Go ahead,
help
please.
To obscure corruption in public office. Financial structures are often so complex that even after they are publicly revealed, they are not widely recognized for what they are. An example of this is PFI, the Private Finance Initiative.
PFI is Private Finance Initiative. It is a way of funding public infrastructure, things like hospitals, schools, roads and bridges, but financing them via the private sector rather than the historical method, which is via central government. Over a period of 30 or 40 years, the amount of kind of repayment costs will be sort of 3 or 4 times higher overall than if you'd borrowed it from central government in the first place. So it's basically a giant accounting scam. Once the PFI policy has been set up, you find that the big 4 accountancy firms were actually paid members of staff within the Treasury Department who were then actually going around and selling and advising upon the implementation of PFI contracts by public authorities.
Effectively saying, come to us and we will show you how to derive the most benefit from it. In other words, how to perhaps exploit the legislation.
Even the offices of the state tax authority are now owned offshore. HMRC, which is the tax collector here in the UK, their offices are owned in Bermuda by a company called Mapley Steps. It's quite incredible.
The company that owns the PFI contract to run HMRC's head office borrowed money from offshore investors at 15% interest.
Okay.
Because the interest was so high, the company was losing money. Therefore, it did not pay tax. In 2011, HMRC could not prove that any PFI company was paying any tax in the UK.
I think we need to have a serious conversation about the role of government in this whole debacle and how much our government has been penetrated by big banks and accountancy firms, and ultimately in whose interest it operates. The reason we were protesting outside the Africa PPP conference is that we wanted to make sure that citizens back in Africa should hear about the fact that such policies have been a complete failure here in the UK. We know that these products are not being marketed to African countries in their own best interests. Their only motivation is to spread the reach of financial services into new markets. It's all being promoted in the interest of the City of London. What you're seeing is basically a second form of colonialization. You've had initially occupation, resource extraction, and through that process, countries like Britain, which have had a large offshore empire, have developed significant networks, and now those networks are being used to promote and exploit financial services.
The City of London was the beating financial heart of the British Empire. As Britain's empire declined, the city transformed itself from a hub operating the financial machinery of empire into a global financial center. Former insignificant outposts of empire became the basis for a spider's web of offshore secrecy jurisdictions that captured wealth from across the globe and funneled it to the City of London. Today, 25% of international finance is conducted on British territory. Almost half of the world's secrecy jurisdictions are under British protection. Up to half of all offshore wealth may be hidden in Britain's offshore havens. Financial services is how Britain's elites make their money. And it is also where former government ministers, senior civil servants, and retired spooks from MI5 and MI6 receive lucrative consulting positions after their time in public service. Together, they have transformed Britain and its dependencies into the world's largest tax haven, harming development throughout the world and turning Britain itself into a country that serves, above all, the interests of its elites.
All right, we'll end this video here.